and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we're going to continue a discussion we started earlier about ways we can strengthen our families. My guest is Healthy Families consultant Alvean Lyons. Welcome, Alvean.
Hey, Robin, thanks.
Stronger families. We all want that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the one thing that all of us value is our family. We want our families to be healthy and we want them to be strong. And there are lots of ways that we can go about that process. But we are, as you said, continuing a conversation that we started before. Before we talked about some of the content that you can expect in the Strengthening Families program. But today we're going to talk about some of the environmental experiences that will be benefit to you in the process, all of which still teach, but they really speak to what is sort of nurturing all of that content that you're going to have when you're inside of the classes.
Okay.
So we're going to break them up in terms of 5 T's, okay? So the first one is going to be time matters. Time is your first T. It's amazing what happens where kids are concerned, whether you're talking about them in the younger ages or you're talking about them in their teenage ages. Now, for Strengthening Families class, we really focus on the 13 to 17, so those teenage years are really honed in on.
Okay.
But what is interesting is that research shows that kids can't tell the difference between a parent that works 80 hours a week, so that basically means when I wake up, the parent is gone. When I come home, they're gone also. So I literally don't see you, but technically you do come home every night. But because I don't see you, those kids can't really tell the difference between that experience and having a parent that's incarcerated, which is really interesting because you would think, I'm home, I'm working hard, I'm taking care of my family. How could that possibly be processed the same way? But it's so simple with kids. All I know is you're not there. Mm-hmm. All I know is I don't see you. So the reason I don't see you actually doesn't make a real difference to a child. It's just the fact that you're not there that I am picking up on and processing. So time is a huge and important factor for kids. There's this little quote that says that kids spell love T-I-M-E. And I think it's such an apt quote, that all we want is to be able to see you. All we want is to be able to spend time with you. All we want is to be able to create memories from a kid's perspective. So it's really important that as we go about the Strengthening Families process, we really recognize that one of the things that we're going to have to adjust is the time factor. And sometimes it's not about the quantity of time. It's about the quality of time that we spend together.
Right. Put the phones down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Put the internets away.
Turn the television off. Mm-hmm. Or let's watch something together.
And then talk about it.
It's what you're doing with the time that you do have. Mm-hmm. We can't quit our jobs. We want to keep the lights on.
Right.
We want to keep the cell phone bill paid for. So the fact is we do have some constraints. But what do we do with the time that we do have? How are we using that? Mm-hmm. And all too often, we put things into that space that really don't give us what the kids actually want, and that's the interaction with you. That's I want to hear your annoying voice. And as much as kids pretend,
yes,
they really want to hear it.
I think that's one of the hard things is when they reach that age, they act like they don't want it. And so it's easy for us not to provide it because
Absolutely.
We're satisfying everybody.
Right, and I'm busy anyway.
So this really speaks to making time to do those Strengthening Families workshops because you are setting aside some time and sort of restarting that relationship.
Oh, it's true. And it sends a message to your kids. When they already know that you're busy, when they already know there are 100 other things you could be doing, and you choose to spend your time and focus on growing as a family, the message is like absolutely magnified, Mm-hmm. It just resounds because I know that you don't really have a lot of time to be doing this, but this is what you choose to use your time to do. I recognize as a kid, this must be awfully important. I might not know why it's so important, but it must be awfully important if mom or dad takes the limited amount of time they have and they want to figure out how to make our family better. It sends messages, major mm-hmm. messages, no different than coming home from work. And I know it's been a long day, but when we zone out, we turn the television on and we literally just kind of leave the space, our kids also pay attention to that. That the first thing wasn't to ask how my day was or to find out what's going on or, how practice went or whatever it is that's going on in my life. Kids pay attention to that. And what's interesting is they'll adjust very quickly. and they'll just go into their zones. And you'll create a whole culture in your house where you come home from work, you go into your zone, they come home from school, they go into their zone, and nobody's really interacting with anyone. And before you know it, weeks have gone by, months have gone by, and you really don't know anything about what's taken place in either of your lives, because quite honestly, the kids need to know what's going on in yours too.
Right.
You know, coming home and saying, hey, I had this project at work today, and we had to work through such and such, and you know, I had this challenge with this, so that they know that the things they're experiencing, you're experiencing them just on a grown-up level.
Well, and then they understand your time away and your emphasis on work,
Absolutely.
whether it's a career or money or, you know, whatever those reasons are.
Yep.
They can understand your absences better.
Absolutely.
When they know what's going on with you.
Because you're talking about them. Now I'm not writing my own script as a child. I'm not saying, gosh,
I'm not
mom
filling
and dad, right, mom and dad don't even really like being home, or, you know, mom doesn't want to really spend any time with the family. You know, you kids write all kinds of scripts, and most of them inaccurate. So if we're not talking to our kids, if we're not finding out what they think, and does that match what my actual truth is, you know, my intentions versus my actions, if we're not making sense of those things for the kids, they will try to make sense of them for themselves. And unfortunately, it probably won't be what you want it to be. So we've got to talk to each other. But setting aside time to do that is absolutely essential. It is the most valuable thing you can possibly do. Then the next two T's, they'll go together. Okay, is being tough but tender. Now, tough is about boundaries. There are certain boundaries you're going to have to set in a household. Kids actually need structure. They will fight against it.
Yes, absolutely.
They will rebel against it, but quite frankly, it's one of the things that kids process also as love. That my parents care so much about me that they won't let me go over such and such's house until they speak to the parents, to know that there's an appropriate adult present, to check and see who's going to be picking up, who's going to be dropping off. They're checking to see what's going on in terms of my cell phone messages, what am I watching on YouTube, you know, all of those things. As much as your kids will freak out and say that you're invading their privacy, on the inside, they know that it's because my parents care.
Well, and it helps them set limits and not do things that their peers might pressure them to do. It's like, no, I can't, my parents will catch me. It's not like they don't have to say it's wrong or they disagree, but they have that safety net of you.
Absolutely, and I love that you said that, because one of the things that you can do for your kids all the time is let them blame you. Sometimes they don't want to participate in things where their peers are concerned. Sometimes they actually are reticent about, you know, leaning into that pressure, but they don't know a great out for it. What do I say?
Right.
You know, so it's really great, and you got to tell your kids, blame me.
Blame me, sure.
Tell your friends that I'm crazy and I will just flip out if I find out, so that you don't even have to worry about what your friends think about you and whether you want to do it or not do it, but that simply you're protecting your safety by not participating because you know your mom and dad are going to kill you. So like, it's perfectly okay to blame your parents for why you're not going to participate in something and why you don't want to do something. It's a safe out. So I'm so glad you said that, because it's a great, useful tip for parents to share with their kids. We are a perfect scapegoat and we don't mind at all. I dare those kids to come pressure me about that thing they shouldn't have been doing in the first place. So it's wonderful. So yes, it's really important that when we're talking about those boundaries, that they need to be set and they need to be firm. It is perfectly okay. If you said 10 o'clock is bedtime, 10 o'clock is bedtime. Not 10:30, not 10:45, not 10:17. If 10 o'clock is bedtime, 10 o'clock is bedtime. And if we're not going to abide by that, then we have consequences that come with those things. You're going to lose privileges, opportunities to do things. You may not be able to get that thing that you wanted or were waiting for, have the friends over or go to the friend's house. There are consequences that come with not respecting those boundaries. But the only way kids will respect them is if we're consistent about them, we're very clear about them, and when they break those rules, that we actually do what we say we're going to do.
Right, you can't threaten and not do it.
It means absolutely nothing to a kid. They will just keep pushing that and pushing that and pushing that, because they already know that you'll fall down on the job and they'll just go back to what they were doing before.
Right.
So the consistency really matters, and being firm on those things. But also, when it's time to be tender, be really tender. create that balance. That affection, I know some of us didn't grow up with a lot of it in our households, so it may not come natural to us, but work at building that affection, because just being authoritative in a house, just being the heavy stick in a house is not the only identity you want to have where your kids are concerned. You don't want to just have that kind of dictator role in your child's life. You also want them to see that love not only comes with boundaries, but it comes with a massive amount of affection. They need to be able to feel it. And for some of us, perhaps touch is not natural to you. So there are other ways to share your affection. You can do it in words. You can affirm someone. You can hug someone with your words. It's amazing how you can touch someone physically, but if your words are biting, even that somewhat gentle touch doesn't feel gentle anyway, because I'm listening to the words out of your mouth. In the same way, you cannot touch someone, but use such loving words that they feel like they're hugged. So finding that language that your child understands and responds to, because it's important that they understand that love language, and that you are utilizing that language to communicate that affection to them. It's important to define that. Being tender with your kids has to be that natural balance between being tough.
And I think that comes in the teen years, it really changes. Because when they're little, it's very easy to hug them and pick them up and all that stuff. And as they begin to pull away, which is natural, it changes how you do show affection with them.
Absolutely.
And you have to figure that out as you go. And it can be different one day than it is the next.
From another, absolutely.
And whether their friends around or not around.
And whether they're busy or not. Because, especially in this day and age where you have the advent of technology, sending your kid just a quick text, just saying, yo, I love being your mom. You are such a great kid. I know you're supposed to be paying attention right now in school, so hopefully you're not reading this during class. But, when they turn on their phones at the end of the day and the first thing that pops up is a message from mom or dad just saying, I was thinking about you, dude, and I just want you to know that I am so cheering for you. You are a great young man. Those things do stuff for kids. That out of nowhere, my parents just say fabulous things about me. That is the script that's playing in my mind. If you think about it like a song, you step on an elevator and there's music playing and it's stuck in your head all day. And it wasn't even specifically designed for you, but it's the same kind of thing, that when we just drop these little nuggets of love in our kids' lives, they have that playing in their head. So when their friends are like, let's come up with this great idea for cutting class, skipping school, doing whatever, in their head, they're remembering, I have a parent that totally believes in me, that loves me, that would be disappointed to know that this is what I'm choosing to do. They're not seeking that affirmation from their friends. They're getting it from the people that matter most. So being tender is really important. Then the last T's that we're going to operate with are the treat and teach. And this is what I mean. How you treat your kids teaches them how to treat other people. We are their first teachers. And at every stage, they're watching what we're doing. They're paying attention to what it feels like. They're understanding what power and powerlessness feels like by virtue of how we handle it, because we're that first authority in their life. So what we do to make our points, what we do when we're angry, what we do when we're tired, what we do when we don't understand, how we respond when we make mistakes. Do we apologize? Do we own our stuff? How do we respond to that? Because however we're doing that is setting the tone for how they're going to respond, not only to their siblings inside the household, but how are they responding to other people out of the household. Our treatment is actually teaching them, because of our modeling, who you're supposed to be in this world. When you're at the grocery store and somebody hands you money, do you say thank you? When the cashier, they have their name on their tags, do you just say, oh, give me that, or take this, and or do you acknowledge the fact that, oh, thanks, Teresa, you have a good day? Or when you walk up and they say, hi, good morning, welcome to whatever store it is, do you respond back, oh, good morning, how are you doing? Those things are sending messages to our kids all the time. When you're sitting down at a restaurant, how do you treat the servers? That is teaching your kids how to treat people who are doing things and helping them. How you treat the servers is also teaching your kids how to treat their teachers.
Right,
because it's
right.
the people who are serving them in their lives in ways that they may not even recognize that we are responding to in a particular way. Our kids are figuring out, how do you respond to people who serve in your world? We have to be more conscious of what we're doing in order to more effectively teach our kids what they should be doing.
Well, and it gets back to those first few T's too, because you're also teaching them about relationships.
Absolutely.
Their relationship with you is going to set the tone for their relationship with a
others.
future partner or dates or friends or whatever.
Absolutely.
And so it does get to that. If you come home and don't communicate and zone out and go separate places, you're not really helping them learn how to have good relationships in the future. It isn't just getting through the teen years, it's getting them into their future
adult
lives.
years. Absolutely, because we are launching them. And I say to people all the time, don't raise kids that you would not want to be partners with. You know, like why do that? Because one day they're going to be the partner of someone in their lives. So
hopefully you want to like too.
Absolutely. You want them to pick well, and you want them to be a good partner.
Yeah.
But we can't allow them to have behaviors and actions that become habits, which ultimately become their character and their personhood. We can't let them maintain those things through their young adult into their adult years and not think that that's not going to have impact in so many different areas of their lives, whether they even get employment. If we put up with the nasty attitudes at home, do understand that an employer does not have to.
Right.
So I don't have to hire your kid or give them that opportunity. And they may be brilliant, but how they're handling themselves is changing whether or not I want to give them that chance. So we have a lot of control and a lot of chance to make a real difference in our kids' lives, to strengthen us as a family, and then even to strengthen them as adults. So we can't take that job lightly. We really have to see it as a priority, but no, it's a good thing. It comes with growing pains, but helping our families grow is a fabulous thing. And when you have strong families, you build strong communities. And that is worthy of the investment.
Absolutely. So one of the ways we can make this investment, in addition to paying attention to those 5 T's you talk about, is to set aside time for a workshop.
Absolutely. The Strengthening Families program is fantastic. I mean, it really, really is. Everything I'm talking about, you're going to find inside of it. So you get a chance to really experience that, to walk that out, to practice it, to see what it looks like in application, to ask questions, to make it personal to your household so that you can test it out and then tweak as you go, figuring out what's perfect for you and your family. But it really gives you the stuff that you need to be able to get the results you want. And we all have ideas of what we'd like to see happen in our families, but we don't always know how to get there or how to get there faster or more efficiently. That's what Healthy Families, Strengthening Families classes are for. We're here to help you get what it is that you are dreaming for your families.
That sounds great. I want that.
We hope you'll come. Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Alvean.
Absolutely. Thanks, Robin.
And thank you for watching. I hope you've learned some tips here on ways to strengthen your families and that we've whetted your appetite to maybe sign up for a workshop. You can go to hampton.gov/healthyfamilies and get the course schedule and set aside some time to teach and train and work with your own family. Thanks for watching.